The Denver Broncos could be looking to trade a big name wide receiver. So I was scrolling through Twitter earlier when this tweet from Nick Kendall of Mile High Huddle caught my eye. It says, according to NFL analyst Lindsey Jones of The Ringer on an appearance on the Athletic podcast, there's some buzz around Denver regarding a potential trade of Broncos wide receiver Cortland Sutton. Now, this is an interesting one. There have been some rumors swirling around for about the past week now that the Broncos could be looking to move on from one of their big-name players. The Broncos are in desperate need of draft capital after trading away all of their first and second round picks in this year's draft for Russell Wilson and Sean Payton respectively. Because of this, the Broncos do not pick until pick number 67 in the 2023 NFL Draft, and currently they are only in possession of 5 picks. Broncos general manager George Paton is somebody who likes to operate with at least 10 picks in the draft, so you have to imagine that the Broncos are going to make some moves to get as close to 10 picks as possible. Now, a potential Cortland Sutton trade might even be able to get the Broncos back into the second round. We think about last season when the Chicago Bears sent a second round pick to the Pittsburgh Steelers for Chase Claypool. That pick ended up becoming the very first pick in the second round, so that was a really good trade from the Pittsburgh Steelers' perspective. I'd have to imagine that Cortland Sutton would be able to net similar compensation, if not, maybe even a little bit more than Chase Claypool did on the open market. Now granted, Cortland Sutton's play has taken a bit of a step back ever since he tore his ACL in 2020. Prior to that, it appeared that the Broncos had a potential perennial Pro Bowl wide receiver on their hands. In 2019, Cortland Sutton broke out with 72 catches for 1,112 yards and 6 receiving touchdowns. Unfortunately, the following season in 2020, he only played in 1 game before tearing up his knee, and the following 2 seasons, he hasn't really been able to recapture that Pro Bowl form. In 2021, he accumulated 776 receiving yards and 2 touchdowns, and last season on 64 catches, he accumulated 829 receiving yards and 2 receiving touchdowns, but he also had a career-high 9 drops. Towards the back half of last season, Jerry Jeudy began to establish himself as Denver's clear-cut wide receiver 1 entering next season, and with Tim Patrick coming back from his knee injury, that could potentially make Cortland Sutton expendable. Sutton was signed to a 4-year, $60 million contract extension in 2021, and next year he is set to count for $18 million against the cap. Denver can make some other moves to clear up some cap space, but right now they only have about $10 million to play with. If the Broncos were to trade Sutton, his new team could account for some of that cap space and make things a little bit easier to move on from him, also giving Denver some cap flexibility entering next season. Should Denver elect to trade Cortland Sutton, I feel that there are plenty younger and cheaper options on the free agent market who could fill that wide receiver 2 role. Those players include guys such as DJ Chark, Allen Lazard, and Juju Smith-Schuster. I'm pretty confident that the Broncos could lure in one of those guys at a cheaper rate than $18 million a year, and they'd be able to fill that wide receiver 2 role just as well as Cortland Sutton did. So I'm curious, guys, I know Cortland Sutton's definitely a popular player amongst Broncos country, but when you break it down, I feel like a serious argument could be made for trading him. So what do you think about it, Broncos country? Do you feel like it would be wise to trade away Cortland Sutton? Drop those comments down below. I would love to hear from you. Before we hop out of here, if you could just do me a big favor and smash the like button on this video as well as subscribe to the channel, I would really appreciate it. Those are 2 free and easy ways that you can show your support. It helps tell YouTube's algorithm to push us out to fellow members of Broncos country just like you and me. And for now, guys, this has been another episode of Denver Broncos Syndicate. I am your host, Gage Madrid, saying peace out.